The motivation behind this conference at the end of the day is that no one in the industry wants to see another tragedy like MH17 or PS752. I think both of those events were watershed events within the industry, and I think as a whole we've struggled to work out how to really effectively deal with that. And the objective of the conference was to bring the industry together, to get the people in the room, all of the people that need to be there to have this conversation in a cohesive way, to break down the silos, to identify the gaps that we need to fill, and to identify those hurdles that we need to climb over together to, at the end of the day, make our flying safer and make sure that aircraft are safe and secure when they're operating, particularly through higher risk airspace.
Technology exists out there, but we're not using it as we could. And the motivation behind this conference was to enable people to understand where the gaps are and how we can actually start using technology to close those gaps.
When it comes to the management of overflight risks, we need to have a joint approach. We cannot work in separation because those risks that are very often affecting or coming from both from safety and security, and safety and security experts they really have to work closely together in order to address those risks.
The most significant risk most organizations have, which includes those in aviation, is that how they're assessing risk is probably flawed. And a significant portion of the world's economy depends on this kind of an industry.
I think the biggest challenge we face at the moment is just the wealth of information that's out there. How do we bring that together to ultimately make a decision that keeps our airlines safe? You know, there are lots of aviation conferences, but coming together to talk about one single really critical issue, I think that's where the real strength in this event is to me.
The sessions on the emerging threats was really interesting. Because subject matter experts might know what is going on, but a decision maker that is a bit away from that topic might not be aware. So those sessions were really, really important in understanding what new weapon types exist out there.
I think it was really important and interesting today to go over all of the past incidents, the 8 shoot-downs of aircraft that have actually occurred. Because as risk analysts in overflight and risk managers, the things we deal with are very low probability, but very high impact.
For our firm, this is hugely important. You know, we represented the families whose loved ones were lost in the downing of Flight 752, and we want to do everything we can to make sure it doesn't happen again. And that includes sharing lessons we learned by conducting that case.
I was a security manager at TUI at the time of the Ukrainian shoot down back in 2020, and it did bring back some quite sobering memories of the decisions we had to take to close Iranian airspace and to keep our aircraft secure that were transiting Iranian airspace at the time. It also really highlights the importance for us of having a well-documented and well-resourced risk assessment process.
When you're talking about risk and risk analysis, a huge part of that is trust and building those trust relationships. So I think conferences like this give people the opportunity to form those trust relationships.
I have to say this surpassed all my expectations. We've got more people here than we expected to have. The engagement in the room is fantastic, and there's a real buzz around what we're talking about and the subject matters and the speakers that we've got up on the stage. I think the timing in terms of global instability and the challenges that airlines are facing couldn't be better. I think this is a much needed conversation right now, and so it's great to have that buzz, that engagement in the room during the conference.
I think this is one of the most interesting conferences that I've attended. The quality of the speakers was very good. The information that they came across with was certainly for my airline, Gulf Air in the Middle East, I thought was absolutely excellent.
From the moment that the conference started to the end, it's been a really intense schedule, but it's also been really rewarding, both to getting new knowledge and also having the opportunity to meet new aviation professionals. And it's been, I leave these days full of energy and with new knowledge that I take back to my organization.